Hey everyone, this is Nitro. In this video, I am going to do the third challenge battle in Trails in Time second chapter, which is called Trails in Time Family Bucket. And this battle has some very nice rewards, right? As with all other challenges, it gives 30 Trinity Crystals, but it also gives 40 challenge points and a very pretty skin, a Bracer skin for Amazons and Amazon champions. It's unfortunate that there's almost no soldiers that actually use Amazons or Amazon champions since they're offensive lancers and there's very few, offensive lancer characters. But it is available, so, why not get it, right? So, I'm going to jump into the fight and I'm going to describe the way this battle works before I actually battle it out, because this battle is really, really finicky. First, Leonhardt, okay? Leonhardt has a skill called Asura's Instant Step. If there's no allies within 3 blocks of him, he can act again. In other words, he will endlessly attack and wipe out your whole party if you don't kill him on turn 1. On the other side is Joshua, and Joshua has several skills. He has Ruthless March. If there's allies within 3 blocks of him, he can act again. So just like Leonhardt, if Joshua gets within 3 blocks of an ally, he will act again endlessly and kill your whole party. However, the problem here is he also has a skill, Undying Magic Eye. If there are no allies within 3 blocks, you cannot die after receiving mortal damage. And afterwards, you will recover 100% hit points. Incredible passive, incredibly tough to deal with. Okay? So yeah, I mean, you need to be able to basically disable Joshua's passive to kill him. Or the alternative is let him get close to other characters, right? Then you smash him into 3 range of another character and then kill him that turn. So those are the 2 ways to deal with him. Either disable his passives or kill him that way. Finally, in the north, Olivier and Rene both have a Phoenix barrier, where if there's no allies within 4 blocks, they're invincible. Okay. In addition, they both have the exact same skills. Okay. So they have Sniper. If there are no allies within 1 block around them, normal attack range increases by 2. And after dying, if there are allies within 3 blocks, prevents all enemies from using skills and it lasts 3 turns. Since you have to kill them while they're close to allies, right? You're likely to get silenced. So that's why you need a character to remove the silencing effect, which will probably be Liana. Is there anything else to mention? Actually, I'm going to remove Sophia's Regenerate in favor of Mass Heal for the Dispel. Okay. So that's to counter the silence, I'm bringing Mass Heal. And finally, let's see. There's 2 other very problematic characters. Estelle has, the main thing about Estelle is Whirlwind Protection. After taking action, if there are allies within 1 block of her, makes all allies invincible. So they get a buff that makes them invincible, and it lasts 1 turn. As long as Chloe is standing beside Estelle, she's going to make everyone else invulnerable. So you're going to have to be able to remove buffs to kill off enemies, right? So otherwise they're all invulnerable. And last but not least is Chloe, and Chloe's defining skill would be her pure healing skill in this battle, where if there are allies within 2 blocks of her, after taking action, restore all allies' hit points by 50%. In other words, if you don't kill off a character, they're basically going to heal up to full hit points, as long as Chloe is on the battlefield. So, killing order. What that means is Leonhardt has to die on turn 1. There's no way around that. Next is you want to be able to deal with Joshua, right? Whether disabling his passives or whatever, you need to figure out a way to kill Joshua. Next, Rene and Olivier needs to both die, because otherwise they become invincible. And then finally you'll deal with Estelle and Chloe. Okay. So that is the basic killing order. So with all that said, I really need to actually find a way to disable passives, right? I don't know if I have anybody who can disable passives. Let's see. Frontal assault. Okay, so change of plans. Elwin is going to be absolutely core for this fight because he'll have Sword Soul and Frontal Assault. Lewin is just going to Faction Buff and Divine Guard as my tank. Okay, this should make the fight easier. Bozol will have Sleep. That's his main thing. He's get Sleep to dispel 3 buffs and make the enemy unable to move. He'll also bring Earthquake, but I don't think Earthquake will have much use. Hoping for Seal and Silence, I suppose, but none of these enemies, to be honest, really need to be sealed or silenced. They are mostly passives, remember. So just an interesting point. Last but not least... So really, the only reason I'm bringing Bozol, in truth, would be for Sleep. You know what? I'm gonna go as far as removing Earthquake, and why don't I give him a Summon Undead? The whole point of the Summon Undead is to trigger the enemies, to make them move and come at me. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much the skill configuration at this point, right? The only question left is whether Leon should bring Smash or Thousand Hooves, right? And I think with Frontal Assault, disabling passives, I'll be able to crush Joshua anyways, right? So I don't need Smash. So why don't I bring Thousand Hooves, which I think will help more. Higher damage, right? Mobility decrease, so... Okay, everything is configured for this fight at this point. So I'm ready to begin the battle, and let's see how this plays out, shall we? Here we go. Alright, so let's begin the fight by wiping out Leonhardt, to prevent him from endlessly using Act Again to kill my whole party. Right? So let's move Leon over to the left, Chivalry up, and just smash him with, I suppose, Thousand Hooves. There we go. He's already nearly dead, just like that. Liana will again Leon, and Leon will easily finish off Leonhardt like this. There we go. One enemy crushed. Now I'm just going to turn on the danger zone and just wait for Joshua to get closer. So nothing really I have to do. Just end turn. Right? Alright. Joshua starts approaching. Now I'm going to get my party close together to smash him once he gets to right over here. So I guess I can just move down, move over, shift over, move up, I guess. Doesn't really matter here. But I guess the main thing is for Lewin to faction buff, so that Elwin has more stats. Done. Alright. So now Bozol is going to start things off to sleep Joshua, because Joshua currently has a buff where all damage taken is decreased by 100%, and that buff is applied by Estelle's Whirlwind Protection. So, with Sleep removing 3 buffs, Joshua can no longer fight. And he's vulnerable to damage now. So, at this point, let's crush him, right? So, Leon, attack, and retreat. And then Elwin will use Frontal Assault to disable the enemy passive skills. Disable his passive skills, he can no longer revive from Undying Magic Eye. So, Frontal Assault, and down goes Joshua. Alright, so stage 1 is complete. The 2 big threats who can attack endlessly have been killed. I now just need to deal with the 4 enemies in the north. The fight has become much easier at this point. Which just goes to show how critically important Elwin is to this battle. If you don't have Elwin, I don't know how you can beat this. Because you need Frontal Assault and you need Sword Soul. Anyways, so now let's begin triggering the enemies to come at me. So let's start that by having Lewin move into attack range. And here we go. So Lewin needs to tank the hit from Olivier, which is a stat check. Okay, he needs to be able to survive this attack. Phalanx soldiers will probably make it easier for you to survive than mass maids, but my Lewin survives. Okay, so now with Olivier triggered to move up, let's now move. Let's now trigger Rene. So let's shift Lewin over to the left and get him healed up. Heal. Elwin shifts up. I need Bozo to have sleep. Okay? Because I need to, when I fight them, I need to sleep the enemies. So what that means is I'm going to have Sophia rewind right now. So let's just do that. That way Bozo will have access to sleep again. Let's move Leon up and have Bozo shift up. Lewin takes a hit from Rene, and that actually did less damage, you can see, right? So Rene's, what, 1200 I think? Yeah, Rene's 1200 int didn't really lead to much damage going into Lewin. There wasn't much overkill damage, whereas Olivier's 1560 attack nearly actually killed off my Lewin. So there you go. In any case, let's get ready to fight them, right? Leon can be standing further back. He's fine, right? Rene got 2 debuffs applied on him. 2 random ones from... Sorry, Lewin got 2 random debuffs applied on him from Rene due to Rene's talent, right? Fortunately, neither of them were preventing me from healing. So I'm okay. So... let's have Sophia, I suppose, heal up Lewin a bit to start. Let's shift Leon a little bit back. Right? Lewin is going to guard Elwin. And why don't I have him reactivate the faction buff after I end Elwin's turn. And maybe also end Diana's turn. Just thinking. Should be fine. Let's put Diana here. Alright, sorry. Lewin moves. Liana moves. And Bozo moves up 1. Like so. So there we go. Olivier attacks the closest melee character, which was Elwin, which is guarded by Lewin. So we're good. Rene just starts moving up, doesn't attack anyone. And now we're properly placed to crush Olivier and Rene. So here we go. Let's see how this goes, right? And first things first is I'm going to have Sophia ready to use mass heal. Because I'm going to get silenced. Okay? So, what that means is Elwin needs to march forward and Sword Soul Olivier to start. Oh. Killed him in 1 shot. Interesting. I didn't expect to one-shot him. Okay. So... wow. I'm going to mass heal here to remove the silence effect on my party. Alright. And then Bozal is going to move up and put Rene to sleep. To be perfectly honest, I expected to have to finish off Olivier with Leon. I didn't have to there though. So in any case though, since I didn't have to, I'm going to have Leon charge up, activate Chivalry, and now Thousand Hooves Rene, who has had her invincibility removed. Rene doesn't die, so it's a good thing Elwin was able to one-shot. So that means, well, let's have Lewin move up and faction buff. And then Liana is going to move up and regain Leon. And then Leon can finish off Rene, reducing the enemies down to 2. So there we go. Bozal gets smashed, and Bozal is probably dead at this point. Yeah. Chloe finishes off Bozal. So, but the enemies no longer have that invulnerability buff. So what now? Well, let's crush the remaining enemies. It's pretty easy at this point. Let's have Sophia heal herself because she can't move. Do the debuffs. Let's have Liana heal up Lewin because he needs to activate Divine Guard. There we go. And Elwin is just going to do a regular melee attack to start things off, hammering Chloe significantly. And then with that, let's see. Just want to double check on Estelle. If there are no allies within 3 blocks, makes all allies invincible. And if she dies, she makes allies invincible too. Well, it just means I need either Sword Soul or Frontal Assault on Elwin, right? So let's just wipe out Chloe. Leaving only Estelle at this point. She was actually applied with a debuff, which made her unable to get buffs from Bozal before Bozal fell. So right now I can just finish off Estelle. Normally you wouldn't be able to, right? Which just means I have to wait until... So normally I would have to wait until Elwin had his skills active again. Which in this case, he actually does have Frontal Assault available to him. Right? So if he uses Frontal Assault now, that will disable all of Estelle's passives. And then I would just need to wait until, well, regardless, I would have had to wait until I had Sword Soul again, basically. And then once I had Sword Soul, I could have finished off Estelle. In any case, I got lucky here. Bozal was able to debuff Estelle so that she couldn't receive any buffs. And as a result, I can just finish the fight right now. Otherwise, you would take, I guess, what? 4 more turns. 4 turns where Lewin is tanking damage while you're waiting for the cooldown on Elwin to refresh. But, yeah. In my case, I'm done with the battle. So there we go. There is a definite stat check without doubt on this fight though. Your tank, in my case Lewin, has to be able to tank the damage that Olivier and Rene dish out. Okay? In addition, Elwin really needs to be powerful enough to one-shot one of the enemies. Ideally. So... right? So that way Leon can two-shot the other enemy with Bozel to help. But yeah, with this, the challenge mission is complete. And for me anyways, this challenge mission wasn't too bad. But I have to admit, I had a pretty perfectly configured party for it. 6-star Elwin, 6-star Leon, right? 5-star Bozel, and so on. 5-star Lewin. It may be, I should say this now, it may be that you can also spread out your combat against Olivier and Rene. I triggered them both at the same time to kill them both off. You can space that out. You don't need to rush it the way I did, right? You can have Elwin trigger one of them, then wait a bit before triggering Rene and taking Rene down, before finally fighting off the remaining enemies. So there's no need to rush it per se. So that's something else you can do as well. Alright, so those are the, I guess, modifications you can make for this fight. And yeah, I hope you found this video useful in your attempts to clear that battle. Or if you don't use my exact same party, I'm sure there's other ways too. For example, Bernhardt can remove buffs with hegemony, right? Vargas can remove buffs when he attacks, right? So Vargas could use Power Stab offensively with Battle Cry to remove a buff, right? If you have, for example, if you have Bernhardt built up with the weapon, the hammer, in fact, how do you pronounce this? Thor's hammer. I truly don't know how to pronounce it. Mayonir? Yeah. So yeah, maybe Mayonir. If you have a built-up Mayonir, like a level 51, then this can add an additional 100% chance to dispel a buff from the enemy, right? So that would allow Bernhardt to remove 2 buffs, which makes it even easier to kill the enemy off, right? Finally, you could also have Lewin, right? Lewin with Roar skill. I'm just trying to find him. Yeah, so Lewin, he has access to Roar, which will also allow him to remove 2 buffs. He also has Battle Cry, which adds a 3rd buff removal, which means 3 buffs removed from the enemy, right? If you even throw in a Mayonir on Lewin, he can remove 4 buffs with every attack of Roar. So another character that allows you to debuff the enemy to make them killable. So there's lots of ways to do so. But I'm not sure if there's anyone else other than Elwin who can disable enemy passives. I'm truly not sure. I mean, if you have, let's say, Ulte Muller with Peacemaker, right? Peacemaker has a 50% chance to nullify enemy passive skills. So this could work too. This is another method, right? Attack, nullify enemy passive skills if it triggers, and then, take out Joshua and go from there. So that's yet another method. Although a bit more luck-based, but then you're killing the enemy Joshua so early that you can afford to be a bit luck-based. So yeah, that's the methods that I can think of for clearing this fight. So with all that said, once again, I hope you found this video useful, and on that note, Nitro out.